during this process, I think a lot of people go through this is like they're questioning it and then they're not finding satisfying answers from their parents or from their pastors. And so specifically with your parents is how would you advise like other people like handling that situation? Because, you know, we're called to honor and respect our parents, but like when our parents aren't in the truth. So like having that balance of realizing their authority as a parent, but also like, hey, parents, you're there's something wrong here. Like having that constructive conversation if you are going to have that conversation.
Well, what I would say is because my conversations got very emotional
Yeah.
for like 6 months to a year. They were really rough. It was hard to deal with.
Hmm.
So I would recommend for anyone who has a similar situation, don't do what I did. I did the wrong thing. I did the wrong thing by arguing with them all the time and just making like every conversation we had for like 6 months. Oh, everything about religion and stuff like that. And it's also not to put blame on my dad, but it's also partially my dad's fault because he's kind of also like me, likes information, and like
Yeah.
he'll ask me questions like, hey, so what about this? And then I would like respond to it, and then he would have a counter response and I'd have a counter response, and then we'd keep going for like 30-40 minutes until we're kind of like we slowly escalated up the ladder till we're like up here and we're like, wait a second, let's get back down.
Yeah.
We agreed we wouldn't do this, but we still were somewhere up here.
Yeah, I think that's a very common pitfall. I struggle with that with my parents. Is like when you come to the truth, you have lots of zeal and you wanna like spread it, but
Hmm.
definitely being aware of yourself, of how you're conducting yourself, especially with your parents or your wife or your friend. You know, you don't want to turn them off completely because you're, you know, so zealous about it. I think really when you're new to it is just really, you know, read the Orthodox saints and live it out, live orthodoxy out. You can tell your parents about your faith, and it's a great thing. And if they have questions, you know respond. But it's a tricky balance between you obviously want to spread it to them, but often parents aren't going to be receptive to their kids basically saying they got something figured out. And a lot of parents, the reality is that they struggle with maturity too. They struggle with these issues too. It's like people want to be right. So just being aware of that, knowing your parents, everyone's parents are different. Some parents may be like super open-minded. I know a friend who invited his mom to Orthodox church, and she's like, I love this, and I want to become Orthodox now. Some parents, they're like, you're becoming Orthodox, you can't have any icons in the house, and really authoritarian and overbearing. So yeah, just be aware of yourself, be aware of your parents. Just, live orthodoxy at home. There's a lot of young people who are looking into orthodoxy and in that situation. So it seems like it's kind of smoothened out over time with your parents, where it's kind of like, okay, we were both going too far. Now, that I'm, practicing the Orthodox faith. I'd love to share that with you anytime, but, not getting into those arguments. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and also like very nice of my parents. Like I still live with my parents, but yet I'm allowed to have all these icons on the wall,
That's great.
as long as it's kind of like just like stay in my room. Like
Yeah.
don't bring it out. Like it's my space. I can kind of do what I want with it. And also like my prayer ritual or whatever I do with that, they're kind of just like, you know what, we'll leave you be. Don't try not to bring it out too much, and like let's not have these heated arguments that we've had before. And even throughout it all, they've grown to have a bigger understanding of the Orthodox faith, and they've actually started to respect it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because my parents my dad's Russian, my mom's Ukrainian. They grew up in the Soviet Union, and they did not have a good experience with Orthodoxy. Especially my mom, she lived in like some little village with like 20, 30 people, and there was like a small Orthodox church there, and like they spoke some language. My mom's telling me like they spoke some language that they didn't understand. So it
Mhm.
might have been like Church Slavonic, or maybe even something completely different. Because my mom said she went like a few times when she was a little kid. She was Pentecostal, but like they had friends and family that like went to that church, or maybe not family, friends that went to that church, and they're like, you know what, we'll stand in the back and we'll kind of see what's going on here. And she said she doesn't remember like anything from it because it was like in a different language. And they also have the corruption from KGB and just general like other stuff, that the Soviet Union was not a great place for religious people at all. So they have a
Yeah.
bad experience with it.